Hi everyone, it's Jerry. Let's have a look at a game that was played at the 45th United States Open. This was held in Boston, Massachusetts in 1944. On the white end, Samuel Reshevsky, chess prodigy, learned the game at the age of 4, was already conducting simultaneous chess exhibitions by the age of 8. He is a 6-time United States chess champion and has defeated several world champions, Lasker, Karpov, and 9 others. His opponent, I don't have nearly as much to share about Arnaldo Vasconcellos. He did finish 6th in this particular event among 18 formidable opponents. Of the few games that are out there of his, one of them includes him beating a 9-time state champion, the state champion of Maine, and it's my impression from the games I viewed of his that he is around a master level player. This is just my opinion, but I wanted to give you some sense of the players that are on board here. So, as the title suggests, we have fireworks on board in the French defense, and in this one we're working with the advanced variation. Not so commonly seen nowadays. This will often subject white to some really quick pressure against the d4 point. We do have that with c5, and if white tries to maintain it, you can be sure both knights and the queen will target that point. So there can be some really quick pressure there, and that can be difficult to maintain. White says, you know what, I don't want to deal with any of that. I'm just going to give that pawn up. I'm going to take away from the center. So white won't have to babysit d4. What's the downside? With this capture, well, black now has acquired a 2-to-1 majority in the center, something that black can look to now build on. Okay, let's get some more moves in here. Black tracks the pawn back down. And from here we have knight to e7. This is one of the top moves. It's a matter of taste. Black can go forward with f6. This is really the variation I had in mind when I said black can try to build on this idea of a central majority. f6 pretty much will grant black a 2-to-0 majority in the center. It's not without its drawbacks. It does create some weaknesses in the center, the e6 square and the king side, but okay. A matter of taste. This is maybe one of the more testing lines, f6, at this moment and even at another moment, a few moves down the road. Knight e7 in the game, castles, knight c6. 2 attackers, only 1 defender. Let's develop and defend. So that's now secure. A lot of attention here. This is another moment for the f6 move, and maybe even a bit more appealing at this moment, now that the bishop is on f4, because should the f-file open up, and it would with f6, there will be a valuable tempo gained against the bishop. And it could really tie in well with the bishop on c5. Anyhow, in this game, it's queen c7. Black's going with some piece play. More pressure against e5. Now 3 attackers and only 2 defenders. White does not need to defend it directly, however. White has tactical ideas in mind. White deploys the knight to c3. So, what would be the issue with capturing this pawn? Black doesn't in this game. Black plays the best move, a6, securing the b5 square. But this is a nice, let me just kind of fast forward. If black was greedy, I see a lot of players maybe be greedy here, capturing on e5. What would be the continuation if black was trying to win the knight? Or excuse me, win the pawn on e5. Feel free to pause the video. Okay, this would be the continuation. The best continuation, the one that I didn't see initially. I saw a different kind of tactic I'll share with you. But this would be the killer one. Knight b5, queen has to move and still defend the knight. And now the star move, one that I've fallen for, I believe, on the black end a couple times, at least in blitz. Queen to h5. This is a nice, this one has some nice geometry. Hitting the knight along a rank, and most importantly, pinning the pawn to the king, which means f6 is not available to lend support to the knight. This is a cool one. And the bishop isn't around to lend some support. The knight negates it. And, well, the knight's going down next. The pinned piece is a goner. So a nice sequence there with the queen to h5 move, and, well, here's the tactic that I noted. Not knight b5 and queen h5, but this is the one I saw. Knight takes d5, and if the pawn captures, this file is open. Now you could take the knight, and there's no fear of this because of a pin. So a couple cool middle game tactics should you find an opponent here on the black end greedy, working themselves into a pin. Okay, not in this game. a6, rook e1, 3 attackers, 3 defenders. This does leave white a little bit vulnerable on f2. And there's also b2 that's sensitive, and sure enough, black targets both. Queen to b6. From here, white safeguards the more important of the two. Queen takes b2. Poison pawn is gone. How poison is it? Well, move 12. This is only a 26 move game. What did Reshevsky do next? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, here we go. Knight takes d5. Yeah, this is really going to get at the black king. This is not a winning shot, but it's certainly going to pose, well, it's going to place black in a very difficult spot. You're going to have to find some nice defensive moves, not the easiest thing to do when your king is under fire. Maybe black was thinking about knight to a4. You know, this is often this is one of the better moves by the engine, by the way, knight to a4 with the fork, and paving the way for c4, cracking open the position some more. Okay. No knight to a4 here. Knight takes d5. What is the idea exactly? We'll see soon enough, but first, quick improvement for the rook. With tempo, it's now on a half-open file. Queen a3, and now the main idea really behind that sacrifice, and that is to push in the center and get at that king. This ensures that the e-file will be peeled open. It does hit with the fork. That's what you can basically anticipate. The e-file will now open up. Knight f6. And now how to get at the king. Move 16 here. I felt my first impression of white's next move was that it was a bit slow, but then as I looked at it a bit more, I'm like, that's yeah, it really does make some sense here. Bishop to h4. Well, more than some sense. What is bishop h4 doing? It's looking to eliminate black's best piece. Best defensive piece for sure. The one that rests right next to the king. You know, the rooks, we can't identify those pieces as good defenders of the king. The queen, she's way out there in left field. Yeah, white wants to eliminate black's best defensive piece. From here, we have knight to b4. This is the giant lemon of the game. There is no, you know, black has to do something different here. This is a losing move. The best move here for black, or one of the best moves, is to drop the bishop back, anticipating this capture and trying to replace it with another piece. The additional benefit behind a move like bishop e7 is that the queen is at least, you know, has an avenue to return and defend some squares around the king. Okay, this important defensive idea was not found in the game. Knight b4, I could see why a move like that may be played. You know, the bishop is a pretty strong piece. Black wants to knock it out. But, you know, first things first, this square is now provided to the f3 knight. Pounces right in the center with a check, king f8. And now bishop takes knight. That was the idea behind the bishop move, and the idea behind the knight move was to take the bishop on d3, so just swinging the back completely around. There goes the white bishop. White says, I'm going to rip the heart out of your structure. No g-pawn, and the king will never find safety. I don't know if you were maybe thinking that the king, it was possible for the king to be safe in this position, but without the g-pawn, yeah, good luck. Okay, king takes, and another pop quiz, move 20. What did Reshevsky do next? This is probably the star move of the game. Feel free to pause the video. Okay, you ready? Rook takes b7. This is a wonderful shot. If you did not spot this move, how could you have? you have to see that this bishop on c8 is overloaded. It has two very important jobs, defend b7 and queen g4. Notice when this bishop played to h4 to take out the knight, what squares was that knight controlling? What key squares? g4 and h5. And sure enough, white is trying to make use of those squares. This is a devastating tactic. Rook takes b7. So much so that black cannot take the rook. It would lead, capturing here, would lead to a checkmate in 6. Let me highlight what this variation is. Queen g4. Notice the nice squares the knight would have under control and can coordinate with the queen. If the queen ever gets here or here, with the king anywhere around these squares, that's going to be bad news for Team Black. Just look at a couple of quick variations. If king h6, that would be painful. It's one of the painful lines. And another one is, let's say, king f6, queen f3. And let's say he goes here. Well, yeah, the queen sweeps in. Pick your favorite square, king. Doesn't matter. Mate next. Okay, yeah, this queen g4 move is pretty devastating, especially with the knight right there in black's house. So what's tried is bishop e7. Here comes the queen. There's a lot of stuff hanging. Both rooks are hanging, but it doesn't matter. So this is a very serious threat. Queen to f7. So as an example, if let's say knight takes rook, queen f7, king h6, rook b6. This attack is just way too much. Queen has to now give herself up, as otherwise if king here, f4, and then how's that? Look at that little path with the rook. Anyhow, big trouble for Team Black if this rook is captured. What is tried is rook f8, no queen f7, and now, okay, why not? Another pop quiz your way. What did white play next? Feel free to pause the video. Okay, here we go. Queen g5. Taking advantage of the pin. The king is forced to the corner. And now, oh, well, I'm sorry. There's just a lot of star moves here. There's another one on this move 23. Be quick about it. Hit that pause button if you'd like. Here we go. Knight g6 check. Throwing another piece right in there. White wants at that king, chipping away at this pawn. It's no longer around. Queen h6 check. Queen takes g6 check. And finally, rook takes bishop. Rook b takes bishop. Yeah, this is one way you could go wrong, right? Whoa. Hang on. There would be a back rank issue. White would get mated. Yeah, rook b takes e7. And black, at this stage, throws in the towel. There's no good defense to the mate threats on g7 and h7. Queen takes rook, rook takes, and yeah, this is all that black can do. Mate next. A very flashy game for sure out of this French defense by Samuel Reshevsky, 6-time United States champ. Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comments section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe even took a thing or two away from it. That's all for now. Take care.